how do you need to work forward with this group assignment? I've given this some thought. Please keep in mind that I'm only expecting 1 or 2 slides in response to the questions you were given. So please, I know we have a truncated amount of time. This is the first time I've implemented this technique, group discussion. I think it's important, but I want to take away any concerns that you might have about time crunch, or that you don't have enough time and there's no clarity on how to move forward. And I also don't want to overburden you with trying to do too much, because I will tell you that I am working through a lot of the details of this for the first time. This is the inaugural run here. The first thing I want to talk about in the introduction to this brief video, this how-to video, is first, there are 2 methods for making some sort of recorded medium. Everybody have access, or at least you should in your group, to one of the 2. I don't care which of the 2 you use, right? As long as you use one of the 2, or some other method that you find that will make it easy for me to present this. Because what I'd like to do is take each of these discussion questions and kind of showcase the work that you've done with your groups toward the last part of the semester, so that people can use it and maybe have a summary review. So there are 2 methods to making some sort of recorded medium with this kind of project. What I'm expecting is a PowerPoint presentation. And in this how-to video, I'm going to first identify how to make an effective PowerPoint presentation. Then, as if you were in an actual class, you either take your smartphone and make a video or audio tape of the screen and attach it separately with your PowerPoint presentation. I'll be doing that here in a moment. Or second, if you have software, live gaming, screencasting, or some other software, you can merely make one videotape with the PowerPoint being submitted as a screencast. If you don't have that technology, don't worry. I'm come up with a way, after exploring and playing around. This took me a bit of time for you to do either one of these. Moreover, this is a skill, effective PowerPoint authoring, that if you're not already using it in your workplaces, and many of you are, it's something that's going to be useful to you, right? So again, the suggested length is about 2 slides, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, and about 6 minutes maximum. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make an effective PowerPoint within your group. You can divide the work up in any way you wish. But we're going to look at a few of the features of PowerPoint. And again, if you're an old hand at making PowerPoint, this is going to be boring and you can skip large sections of this. But if you're new to this, I'm going to assume that maybe you need to be walked through this a little bit, and I'm happy to do so. First, summarize in the main part. Now, I'm using old social psychology lecture PowerPoint that I had from a class. And so I'm going to ask a hypothetical question. Now, don't worry about the substance of this question. Focus, please, rather on the technique. So I'm going to ask this question. How is Irving Goffman, we just studied him, and you watched the video, hopefully, that might have been so useful. How is Goffman a contemporary version and extension of George Herbert Mead? Again, please don't focus on the content, but on the technique I'm working through with you. Now, if you look at this frame, I'm going to expand this frame out a little bit and go down here. You'll see that there's not much writing on this first slide. It says contemporary conceptions of the social self. But if you go down here, there's plenty. And so what I would do is first make a slide with 1 or 2 points. Just 1 or 2 or 3 key points. You might make an introductory slide and then a second slide. But please do not make an error right, that a lot of folks make of jamming every bit of putting question up there and then every piece of information on a slide. Imagine that you're watching a slide in class. I'm going to take a minute and we're going to look through what this means. So the first thing in creating a PowerPoint, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to create a new PowerPoint presentation for this. So you can pick, I would pick a not particularly busy template. There are many that you have in PowerPoint. I'm going to pick Berlin. Okay. And I think I'm going to go with this nice, and I'm going to go create. Now, I don't know exactly what version of Windows you're using. I'm using Windows 10, so that's the version that I'm working with, but this is not precipitously different, okay? Previous versions of Windows, so if you have an earlier version of Windows, you shouldn't really have any problems, okay? So the title of this, addressing a question, and I want you to base your PowerPoint, Contemporary Conception of the Social Self, okay? That's the question, and really what we're talking about is perhaps over here. Okay, so I've created a setup page, but notice I didn't jam a bunch of material in there. So what I'm going to do now is go around and I'm drawing on my own lecture notes. What you want to do here is you want to go up to, let me get over here. You want to go up to this section, this thing, and my big mug, my big old fat head is blocking, okay? You're going to want to go up to this section here called View, okay? On your, up here on your toolbar, on the top row of PowerPoint, you're going to see the View page, okay? And you want to go down here, and again, I don't know, this is acting up, so I'm having to move this around. You'll see a selection there called Notes Page View. This is the key, in my estimation at least, to making a reasonable PowerPoint. And what it does is it opens up a new screen here. And I'm going to add my text, my narrative text. This is, what this does is allows me as a presenter to just show this one slide and everybody's they've got the central idea, but I'm going to read a narrative description of what exactly contemporary conceptions of the social self means. So let me go ahead. I'm going to write this in. And what I'm going to do is to pause, and we'll come back in just a second as soon as I'm done writing. So now we're back, and I've finished writing this slide. Notice that in this slide here, and this is really all I'm going to do, is just this little section just to get you rolling. Again, we're not focusing on the content here, so please don't freak out and think, oh my goodness, I'm going to be tested on this. No. This is to show you how to make an effective PowerPoint. Okay? We'll go into the narrative part here subsequently. But notice that for this first slide, I've just put this one thing. Okay? So what is that going to look like here? What I would recommend doing now, at this point, after you have your presentation nice and edited, 2 to 3 slides, I'm going to say. You're not going to want to do any more than that. We really don't have the time, and I'm not trying to kill you here. But what we're going to do, and I want you to work collectively together on this. After you've written nice narrative descriptions of the points that you want to make from your group questions, then you can begin to get ready to present them. This is what I do, for example, if I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation. If I do a PowerPoint presentation in front of a class, or if I am giving one of my lectures, for video lectures for this class, I have, of course, and I'm working, and as I do here. So then you go over here to normal, right? And you get this beautiful large screen. Back here, misspelled contemporary. No, I haven't. I don't know what they're doing here, okay? And I don't know why this is not taking this. I'm going to shrink the screen down here just to make it, so we're within the visual range. There we go. So here's how this is going to work, okay? And then we'll talk about techniques for videotaping it. I'm going to now read the script as it applies to this slide, just for your reference. We will now turn our attention to focusing on the social self. There are three current conceptions of the social self which build on George Herbert Mead's self, that basic foundation analogous to the personality in classical behavioral psychology, but more fluid and dynamic, that we covered in the first part of our social psychology class. We discussed the work of Erving Goffman and his dramatizing self and his central theory of dramaturgy. Goffman examined gatherings, small fluid groups, as his central unit of analysis. Our interactions with others are termed action. Okay, so you notice there, hopefully you noticed in that presentation, that there wasn't a lot of stuff on the page here. That you've written your narrative page, you've got your narrative, your notes pages, and you've done that, okay, in a manner that will allow you to deliver the narrative, okay? So you may, when you submit, if you're submitting a PowerPoint presentation, you feel free to include the notes pages. But what I'm expecting in terms of presentation, even if you and don't worry too much about that technique, I just would like you to do it right. It's just very, very basic, straightforward, a few bullet points of information in the PowerPoint slide, and then use the notes page to complete your notes and fill that out. All right? So now we're going to look at ways of recording. Okay? I'm going to see if right now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to see whether or not I'm able to use my video phone. My video phone. What is it, 1963? I'm terribly sorry, everyone. I'm going to use my smartphone to make this recording, okay? So, I have a basic iPhone. It's an iPhone, 8 or something. Boy, they're terrible, aren't they? You might have a Galaxy or some other brand. It doesn't matter, right? But, basically, I'm going to be able to make this video here. I'm going to slide over the camera. And so I'm going to get up here and do the same thing. I'm going to do the same presentation that I just did a minute ago. I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to cut and just go to a screen over here, and you're going to hear me reading this on this video presentation. But I'm also going to make a video copy of this using my smartphone. Okay. So, hold on here, hold on to your hats, and we'll see how this works. A button, here we go. So, I'm going to slide over to video on my smartphone, and we're going to go like this. Again, you're not going to see your mug up in there and hear this, but I'm going to just see how this works, okay? We will now turn our attention to focusing on the social self. There are three current conceptions of the social self which build on George Herbert Mead's self. That basic foundation analogous to the personality in classical behavioral psychology, but more fluid and dynamic than we covered in the first part of this class. We discussed the work of Erving Goffman and his dramatizing self. Goffman examined gathering small fluid groups as a central unit of analysis. Our interactions with others are termed action. Okay, so I've just made a video using my cell phone. Let's see what it looks like, okay? Okay. So I'm going to hold this up, okay? And, gosh, and let's see here. I'm holding this up here. Now you can, let's take a look, okay? So, the real reason I'm holding this up is so you can get a sense of what this looks like. To focusing on Okay, not the most elegant way of getting that done, but I think that, for our purposes here, if you can hold it steadier than I did, that, this should be fine. That should be okay. If you can get the audio reasonable, and then what you can do is to, save that as an MP4 somehow, upload it to your computer, and send it as a attachment. I know a lot of people work over their cell phones and their smart tablets. You should be able to send that, as an attachment, and you get the whole thing there. You don't have to send anything else other than your PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I would recommend probably getting something to stabilize it. Okay, so that's technique 1. Okay. Technique 2 is to use whatever screen capture. Some of you work with at work with video recording, or you have the capacity on your computer to make an audio recording along with your PowerPoint. Whatever you do, whatever way you wish to do it, to get it done, to communicate that is fine. But the point I would make is, please be sparse in your presentation of the material in your PowerPoint, and include whatever you've said. And I know you'll do a better job of saying it than in my example. And remember, please, that's an example I gave you, not substantial material. But I'm sure you're going to do a fine job of taking care of this. And really, given the time constraints, and given that Thanksgiving's coming up, etc., and that, I've given you that extension, let's see if you can get this done. Please get this done by December the 3rd, the new due date. Thank you very much, and let me know as we're going along. Give feedback. One last thing I would say, I am not going to grade this terribly harshly. This is the first time out of the gate with the technology is changing under our feet. But I think that it is really, particularly in a sociology class when we're studying groups, that there is some reasonable discussion we can get, and some reasonable value to be extracted from working in small groups. Okay, I hope this is useful. Please email me if you have any questions, and we will see you on the flip side as soon as I make some more of these videos and catch up on some of the grading that's happening. We've had some, just an update. I've had some, there have been some desire to learn glitches. I'm going to tell you that. I will own what I don't know, but their capacity to walk me through problems, which is supposed to be there for instructors, has been a little. It's not been as organized as it has been in the past on their end over there. So I'm going to confess that to you and pass that information along. It's not an excuse, to get me off the hook, but just rather an explanation. Okay? So enjoy these projects and enjoy discussing your material, your various questions. And I'd really like it if we could get them together in a nice pile so that everybody in the class can review them, because I know they're going to be great. Thank you.